Friday and we are together for our last story of the week. I hope you have enjoyed the other 4 books we've read and the projects. We've got our last one today and it's another good one. Feelings check-in. How you doing? It's Friday. Usually Friday is an exciting day. It's the end of the week. You work so hard all week. This is the end of our spring break week, so maybe you're feeling a little bummed that kind of the calm of not having schoolwork is over and ready to jump back into things next week with work from your teachers. I do hope you feel a little bit refreshed and relaxed after a week of just kind of slowing down a little bit. I hope you were able to do that. I hope you are able to find some joy today. I'm recording this on Wednesday, actually, so it's snowy. It's snowy and cold. So I'm gonna power through. It's not gonna get me down. We are just gonna find other reasons to be excited and to be grateful. So my shirt today is a little clue for the book we're gonna read. I gave you a little teaser on Wednesday if you were able to get some supplies ready. If not, that's okay. You'll have some time right now to do that before we get started. So for today's project and activities, you will need a piece of paper, like we always have had, and leaves, real actual leaves from actual trees. So the leaves right now are a little like, there aren't leaves on the trees. So we went for a little hike the other day and we found this on the ground. Not pretty, but it doesn't have to be pretty for this. I actually also have some houseplants. So I was pruning some houseplants today and was able to get a leaf from an indoor plant as well, which is totally fine for today's project. And then I have another leaf that I'm going to surprise you with when we do that project. It's cool. So you need your piece of paper and at least just one leaf. One leaf is fine. I just showed you 2 examples, and crayons. Today you won't need a pencil, but you do need crayon. And I picked green because I want to see some green leaves on the trees soon. I want to see them soon. And you will also be needing, if you were able to get outside over the last couple days, or if you have a chance right now, when you pause the video, to go outside and collect some things you find on the ground from trees. So it can be sticks, just really small sticks. You're not going to go pull anything off a tree or a plant that's trying to grow, but anything you can find on the ground. And we got this on our hike the other day too. So there was lots of stuff on the ground, but in our backyard, we would have it too. We found lots of pine needles and some of them are connected, and even this cool one that I thought looked like a paintbrush. So sticks, actually we didn't find many leaves. I have the one from down here. If you can find leaves, acorns would be cool too. Just anything that has fallen off the tree and is on the ground, you will need that. If you have another blank piece of paper, that might help you, just kind of another flat surface. If you want to kind of take it up a notch with this project, if you have a paper plate and wet glue around your house, glue stick would work too, but a wet glue will work a little bit better. That will kind of take the project and make it last, but it doesn't need to. Mostly what you need are the things from the trees. Things like I have in this basket. So you're going to pause the video. You are going to go get paper, a leaf, and a crayon, and some things from trees that have fallen on the ground. Sticks, acorns, leaves, pine needles, pine cones, things like that you have a little collection of, and you're going to come back and we'll get started. See you in a minute. Pause the video. Okay, here we go. Do you see the clue I gave you? I have these are kind of tropical trees. So we don't live where there are tropical trees, but it's the closest I could get. And today we're reading A Tree Grows Up. This is a National Geographic Kids book, published by Scholastic, just like we read the other day with the koalas. Again, my friends, I have so much fun reading picture books. I love kind of getting silly and doing silly voices, but reading nonfiction books about true and real things is a really amazing way to learn about the world around you. So every once in a while, just throw a nonfiction book in to whatever you're reading. You know, if your grown-ups read to you at night, or if you read to yourself at night, throw some nonfiction in. It's a really awesome way to do some new learning. So we're going to read A Tree Grows Up, and my lighting is all off again. What are you going to do? That close-up picture. You know what those are? They're green instead of brown. They're acorns. Well, that's a big tree, huh? Look! What's that squirrel eating? What's that squirrel eating? Can you see? It's an acorn. Squirrels love to munch on crunchy acorns. So that's what we usually see when we look out our window, right? The other day we read about koalas. Looking out your window and seeing a koala, we look out our window and see lots of squirrels. Acorns drop from oak trees in the fall. Squirrels eat many of them, but they don't eat them all. The squirrels missed this acorn. One by one, falling leaves cover it. The wind blows soil over it. In winter, snowflakes blanket the acorn in white. So it's getting buried under the leaves, under the snow. Sprout. When spring comes, the shell of the acorn splits open. See that crack? A tiny root peeks out and pokes down into the soil. Soon, a little green stem with little leaves push it up and reach towards the sun. It's a baby oak tree. Day by day, the baby tree grows. Its stem, called a trunk, becomes harder. By the end of the summer, it's as tall as a pencil. So that is the trunk of an oak tree. And actually, for a tiny little trunk, it kind of has a lot of leaves, doesn't it? And it's as tall as a pencil. Year by year, the young tree grows. When it's 5 years old, it's tall enough for people to stand under. Songbirds perch on its slim branches. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Starting to see a couple cardinals come back. I don't see many all winter, but I've seen one or two in the last couple of days. Just like you, a tree needs food to live and grow, but a tree can make its own food. Sunshine helps the leaves turn air and water into a sugary food. This food flows through the veins into the leaves to every part of the tree. So there's a real close-up of one leaf, and you see all the little lines running through it. Those are the veins. That's how the sugary food gets to the leaves. Every fall, when the weather turns chilly, the tree's leaves stop making food. They change from green to red to brown, then they dry up and fall off. Brrr! In winter, the tree looks dead, but it's not. It's just resting. It rests all winter long. Spring brings rain and warm sunshine. The oak tree wakes up. New leaves spread wide to catch the sunlight. The tree keeps growing taller and taller. Its trunk and branches grow thicker and thicker. Squirrels scurry up and down the trunk. A family of birds nests on a branch. This is reminding me of the koala book, where the koala had its habitat in a tree. And I think some animals have oak trees as their habitat. Their natural home, creating nests, stopping to rest on the branches. Bloom. One spring, when the oak tree is about 30 years old, surprise! Small flowers grow next to the new leaves. After a few weeks, the flowers fall off. Little knobs form where the flowers used to be. They are baby acorns. Over the summer, they get bigger and bigger. So it takes about 30 years for an oak tree to be able to produce acorns. It's a long time. In the fall, the acorns drop from the tree. Many animals come to feed on the fallen acorns. Chipmunks, wild turkeys, bears, blue jays, deer, and squirrels, of course. Of course. I don't think I've ever seen a blue jay with an acorn in its beak. So big. The oak is now a grown-up tree. It will keep making acorns for the rest of its long life. It will keep growing taller. Its trunk and branches will grow thicker and thicker. One day a branch will be strong enough for a swing. Whee! A lot of different ways to enjoy a big tree like that, wouldn't there be? That one doesn't look like a good climbing tree, but a swinging tree, for sure. Up, out, and down. So, because this is a nonfiction book, there's a lot of information on the page, and I don't have to read it all to you. I might just read a couple of things that I think are kind of cool. But I can hold it there and you can pause if you want and read it yourself or find a grown-up later to read to you, right? So the top of the tree is called the crown. It's made up of branches and twigs. Tiny tubes inside the tree trunk carry water to the roots from the leaves, and the roots hold a tree in place. They keep it from falling over when a strong wind blows. You know about the rings on the inside of the tree growing out. Every year, a new layer of wood forms underneath the bark of the trunk and branches. This makes the trunk and branches get thicker. If you've ever seen the inside of a tree like that, you see its rings. It's pretty cool. And look at the size of those roots. Wow. A lot of them above ground, but I bet there's a lot underground too. Home sweet tree. So these are some animals that would make the tree its home, its habitat. Do you have a favorite and a least favorite on here? Kind of animal? I personally am so scared of skunks. They freak me out. Super seeds. So these are different kind of seeds from different kind of trees. And maybe you were able to collect some of these for the activity today. You saw that I had an acorn. I didn't find any of those maple seeds. Different kinds of seeds. Pine cones. I didn't collect pine cones, but we have a lot of these in our yard actually. Big ones. Different projects about a tree growing up. So that was today's book, and we have some activities to do, of course, to follow up with our learning that we did in there. But first, we're going to get a little movement break. I see that the video is getting a little long. Imagine you need to move. So if you can imagine what we're going to do to move our body, you might have heard of something called the tree pose. The tree pose. And actually, as I was reading this page, I thought this is kind of what we're going to be thinking of when we do our tree pose right now. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do this. Let's see if I can get everything in one shot. Kind of. I'm going to show a close-up of my feet first. So you have a couple options for your feet. And you might notice that I have this really awesome homemade anklet. We can talk about that later. If you're looking for a follow-up project, Romy made that for me yesterday. It's pretty cool. So you have a couple different options for your feet. One is to just, as you're kind of standing two legs together, take one foot and keep your toes on the ground and put your heel on your other foot like that. And see how I kind of make this sideways V shape, and I can do that with either foot. That's if you are a super wiggly person who has trouble balancing. If you want to try a little bit more challenging, you're going to take one foot and you're going to kind of keep that same shape, but you're going to bring your foot up on your leg. So now I have this really kind of sharp V instead of that shallow one. It's a really sharp V if you can stand like that. So those are your two choices, and you can try it on both legs. So one is to have your foot down. One is to see if you can get your foot a little bit higher. Anywhere really along your leg there would be fine. And then you have a couple of options for your hands. One is to kind of bring them up just straight above your head to see how tall you can make yourself. Another would be to kind of connect them and another is just kind of to hold them down and steady. And that's making me think of this page that I just showed you, where our feet are going to be like our roots, and your body, like your legs and your tummy, are kind of your trunk, and then your head or your hands, whichever goes higher, is the top, like your crown. So I want you to take a second to figure out where you're going to put your arms and where you're going to put your legs to try a tree pose. You can't really see my legs, but I'm going to try to bring one up and then go as high as I can. Reach up as high as I can, but I really want to try to keep my body as strong as possible. And my one foot that's on the ground, my root, is really pushing out. I'm kind of spreading my toes out and really kind of pushing that as much into the ground as I can to stay balanced. And I can try that on the other foot. And reach up as high as I can. See if you can keep from wiggling over with your strong root foot. Did you do it? I hope you were able to stay up and not fall over. Okay, we are going to do our drawing project. So you're going to need your paper and a leaf and a crayon. Okay, so take a second to get those things. And I have a couple of tips for you as we do this project. This is the leaf rubbing. Like I didn't talk about it because I didn't want to spoil it, but in the back of the book, it had this leaf rubbing page. So that's what we're going to try right now. I have a couple of tips about doing a leaf rubbing. One is to keep the paper and the leaf from moving, because that can be frustrating if everything is wiggling around. So I'm going to show you how I put my hand on it to keep everything from wiggling. And the other is to really use the side of the crayon. So I even have a crayon here. This is the state of the crayons in our house right now. I have a crayon here that has a lot of the paper coming off it, and using the side, I find, kind of gently works best. If I were going to use this crayon and use the point and dig down really hard, or even just the point at all, it's just, I'm not going to have as good a leaf rubbing. So I'm going to show you what I mean by this. All my little tips for you. So here's my paper. I'm going to turn it sideways, hot dog way, so you can see. And I'm going to use this leaf first. I'm going to put the leaf under the paper, and it's just fine on the table there, just something flat and hard so it can't smush around. And I'm going to cover it up with the paper. And then I really want to be holding near that leaf, but obviously not on it, but near it. If I hold it over here, the paper is super wobbly on this side. So I want to get close to the leaf and just kind of use my hand, see how much I'm spreading my hand out, and push everything down. Now I'm going to take the side of my crayon here and just go back and forth. And I can't exactly see where the leaf is, but I imagine if I rub around, I'll find it, and I did. And you really kind of want to keep your crayon facing in the same direction. So I don't want to do too much turning. Kind of want to get all the lines there to find my leaf and do my leaf rubbing. Can you see that? Lift it up a little. That's my leaf rubbing. It's pretty gentle, pretty light. It's a little bit darker in real life, but you can kind of see that. So I can do that with the different colors. I told you I picked green because I'm ready to see some green leaves. I'm all done with brown leaves. That was a fall and winter thing. I'm ready for some spring leaves. So here, even though this crayon has kind of a bigger point on it, I'm still going to kind of use the side of it and not the point part. And just kind of rub. And this is a leaf from my indoor plant, so it was a little more alive than the brown one I just did. And it kind of looks a little bit different. I definitely noticed that it has fewer veins that I can see. Remember the book talked about veins? The parts that kind of run through. Can you even see that at all? You can kind of see that. So they look really different. But if you just have one leaf to do, that's okay. And you're going to do as many of those to fill up the paper as you can. And I told you I had a surprise for you. And I do. I have another plant inside my house called a fiddle leaf fig. And it has a really big leaf. And I read up a little bit on fiddle leaf figs for this video, so I could teach you a little bit about them. But really the thing you should know about fiddle leaf figs is they can take over because they can get really big. So like when I'm reading you the story and I'm standing here, I'm having to push my plant out of the way. It's really big. It's taking over. So once in a while I trim it and cut some leaves off. And I cut this one off this morning. Are you ready? Yes, this is me. And this is a leaf bigger than my head. And this is one of about, let me estimate, 30 leaves on my fiddle leaf fig. So I got one of these too. And I was going to try to do the leaf rubbing with this also because I wanted to show it to you because it's so big. And see how shiny it is? I'm noticing I've had this plant for 2 years now and it's gotten really big. I guess I'm taking really good care of it, even though I don't really know how. It's kind of a tropical plant. You don't see it outside in Vermont. But the newer the leaf is, and I've had a lot of leaves grow on it since I've had it, it's so shiny and smooth. And some of the older leaves, they definitely don't have this shine. Some of them are a little bit smaller even, but I've got a plant that has about 30 of these giant leaves on it. I had to show you, and I had to try a leaf rubbing with it. I just had to. So I'm going to put this down and try my leaf rubbing with my fiddle leaf fig leaf. You keep going too with your leaf rubbing. And of course you could have picked different colors. You didn't have to pick green. You can pick fall colors for it, or you can pick colors that have nothing to do with trees at all. But I am so ready to see green leaves on trees, even though I told you my allergies are coming. And there are a couple weeks there where it's really hard to breathe with all these new leaves growing, but it's worth it. They're so beautiful. And this is working, friends. This is working. Look at the size of this thing. This is like the top tip of my leaf. It's all I can fit on the paper. This reminds me of Vashti in the story, The Dot, yesterday, of how she needed that giant paper to do her giant dot. And I think I needed giant paper to do my giant leaf. So there it is, the top tip of my fiddle leaf fig leaf. And you can fill up your whole paper, kind of get all around in these white spaces and fill your paper with these leaf rubbings that are really cool to celebrate trees and Earth Day. Of course, I don't recommend pulling any leaves off live trees, but like I said, I had some pruning to do. You can imagine that this is taking over my house. So once in a while, a leaf has got to go. And I did one earlier too. It actually looks the same. And it has this mark on it because when I trim my fiddle leaf fig, all of that, what it said, the sugary food that's moving through the branches and through the veins, it's like, it usually pools right there and it actually dripped on the paper. So that drip is that sugary food that was moving through my fiddle leaf fig. It looks gross, but it wasn't that gross. Don't worry, it wasn't that gross. Okay, bye fiddle leaf, fig leaf. What else could I do with that? It looks like a giant lettuce leaf, doesn't it? It's so wild, and it's like stretchy. So cool. See if we can do anything with that later today. Got some creative girls in the other room. Okay, we're gonna be trees again, but this time we're gonna be trees that are being blown in the wind. So we need really strong roots, but our trunk and our crown is going to be blowing, okay? So get your really strong root, whatever that is. You can't really see mine. I'm going to still try to challenge myself and do this one, but you can also do this where your toes are on the floor, and you're going to get your really strong root. If you are having trouble on 1 foot, 2 feet down on the ground, okay? Because we're going to be going like this. So you can try that now with 2 feet on the ground and see that you're going to be wiggling a lot. You can try to put your toes down and your heel on your other foot and wiggle. And if you're ready for a real challenge, you're going to get your foot up as high as you can get it. Strong root, strong trunk, tall crown. Whoa, it's a little trickier now. So you can imagine in a windstorm how important it is for a tree to have those strong roots. Try it on your other leg, because my trunk and my crown are really making me feel like I'm going to fall over. How'd you do? Were you able to do it on 1 foot? Get your foot up high? Or with 2 feet in a windstorm? Maybe you even tried blowing. back and forth like that. Get your wiggles out, right? Okay, we have one more activity to do. And this is kind of our hands-on stuff. So you need all of your different tree parts and whatever flat surface you want to put those on. I'm going to try it on this plate because I'm going to show you what you can do maybe as an extension after the video is over, or you can try it right now. So you're going to get your tree parts. And one option for you is to try to put them together to make a little like outdoor scene. So I can use a stick that was once a small branch as the trunk, and I can kind of put all my different tree parts. That's kind of looking like a palm tree or a coconut tree, actually, when I put it together like that. So they're pine needles. I'm just kind of using them as the crown of the tree. What do you think about that? And the acorn? Now I know that pine trees don't make acorns. I know, I learned that acorns are from oak trees, but for my picture, I'm just gonna kind of use the pieces that I have. I can even, we had, boy, oh boy, we had a lot of these pine needles. I can use some as grass and kind of put it down there. So you're just taking your pieces and kind of making a scene. Put those loose pieces back together. Oh, here's one all together. It's all tangled. There's like its own little tree. It's like a forest. Putting them back together as a scene from outside using your loose pieces. And so the reason I said you could get glue is if you get it to a place where you like the way it looks, you can glue it down. And for that, wet glue really does work best if you have it in your house. Hot glue gun would also work too if your grown-ups have that. That's not necessary. It's kind of just fun to make different scenes. Another thing you can do is to kind of make another shape. Like I was playing around earlier and I tried to use the pine needles to kind of go around the plate and make almost like a mosaic, you know, like a cool pattern. Using what I have. And I kind of wish I had gotten more stuff, actually. I wish I had some little pine cones. We saw those outside the other day. And that would be cool to kind of put in the middle. So this is definitely a project that you can grow. I mean, it won't grow, but you can add to it and kind of make a cool scene, or just use the pieces to make a picture that has nothing to do with a tree at all. I'm having too much fun. I hope you're having fun too. I'm really thinking about what other pieces I would want to add to this. I wish I had some mini pine cones, some pieces of grass. There's definitely grass outside. And if you're going to glue it down, you could even have some soil, kind of sprinkle that around. So there you go, my friends. Have fun with it. And if you have wet glue in your house and you get a picture that you like, one thing that you could do if you have enough is just kind of like put a coat of wet glue down at the bottom and then put everything back on top of it. You would have to do that kind of quickly before your glue starts to dry, and then it would need a long time to dry. So there are your loose pieces. You can, oh, it's kind of like a picture frame. All right, should I stop? Ms. P, stop. It's like a picture frame, and I can do my little scene inside of it. Something cool to celebrate trees, to celebrate the earth. Keep going with that, okay? Have fun with that. Make a really cool, take the tree that was apart and kind of put it back together in a picture. Kind of cool. All right, that's it. I am done. You are done watching me play and color and draw and create, but keep going. If there was some of those things that you really liked to do, you can get more pieces from outside. Oh, I told you I would tell you more about my anklet. So Earth Day is a great time to think about recycling and reusing. So we had a cardboard box and Romy cut a strip of it and colored it and taped it around my foot, and all of a sudden I have an anklet. So if your grown-ups don't mind you using recycling for projects, that's a great thing to do on Earth Day. Kind of use those materials that are on their way to the garbage or the recycling anyway, and make them into something cool for a little while. I have some follow-up activities for you. If if you're a little older, like maybe kindergarten and first grade and up, if you Google how to draw a tree, and one of the first, there's a couple of names that come up, but the one I saw that I think we've done a couple of videos from this guy, Art for Kids Hub. He does kind of step-by-step drawings, like some of the ones I've done, you know, one at a time, and then you have time to do that too. So this tree looks a little complicated, but definitely something that a lot of you can do and try if you want to draw a tree. And then if you Google Earth Day for Kids and click on the National Geographic site that comes up, I think it's the first one that came up for me. They have obviously a lot of Earth Day activities, and Earth Day was a couple days ago, but that doesn't mean we stop thinking about and caring for the earth. And actually, friends, this is where I found a video yesterday about koalas. So I couldn't find one the other day on the National Nat Geo at Home for Kids, but I found it here. If you click on the top, I think it says animals, and then I clicked on mammals, and then there was a video about a koala compared to a sloth. Do you like sloths? They're pretty cute too. And it was talking about how lazy and slow they are. It was so cute. So if you need more koalas in your life, then you're going to go here and you can learn some more about Earth Day and animals and trees and all that awesome stuff that we should be thinking about today, this week, and always, right? That's all. So my friends, the next time you get videos, they're going to be from your teachers next week. But I have had so much fun with you this week. Thank you for doing these projects with me. I hope you had fun with them and created and got some ideas and were able to show something cool to your grown-ups or teach them a fact about something new. Anything. Thank you for watching these videos. Thanks for doing the projects with me. I miss you all so much. Be well.